it's not always the best investment, especially if you're not local to that area. Hey, it's Kevin A. Malsh, Pine Financial Group, where we work together so you succeed. Hey, you found us here on Facebook, you found us here on YouTube. Please hit like, hit subscribe. We're trying to build a channel here to help more real estate investors just like you. And it only takes you one quick second. Hit subscribe. Thank you. Today I want to talk to you about why buying cheap houses is a bad idea for your investments. So to give you a little bit of background, I stumbled into a couple of properties in Memphis, Tennessee. There were two of them. They're both 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom houses that rent for $600 per month. And I ended up buying both of them for about $30,000, a little over that, $32,000, something like that. Now those two properties turned out to be fantastic investments, but what it made me do is buy more and more and more. And I ended up building up this little portfolio out in Memphis. And what I've learned from that experience is even though the rent to purchase price ratio is extremely good, at least on paper, cash flow extremely well in some of those markets like Memphis, Tennessee, for example, it's not always the best investment, especially if you're not local to that area. So I'm in Denver, I invest in Denver, and then I went chasing yield and ended up with these in Memphis, Tennessee. And then I've heard other investors talk about very similar results in some of the other lower priced areas. Columbus, Ohio seems to come up a lot. There's some others in there chasing high rents for low purchase prices. So here are 3 reasons I think you should think twice before buying cheap houses as an investment if you're chasing returns. One of them is the cost of repairs. Look, a refrigerator is a refrigerator. It doesn't matter if it's going in a $30,000 house or a $250,000 house. So that type of repair, most repairs, quite honestly, ends up being very, very expensive in the cheaper houses as a relation to the rent that you're collecting. One repair could wipe out an entire month of rent in that type of price point. So my first reason that I think cheap houses may not be the best investment is cost of repairs, especially as a ratio to your rental income. The second one is lack of management. And let's face the reality here, guys. If you have a rent amount of $500 or $600 a month on a single family home and you have some management in place, they're not making a ton of money on that property, right? You're looking at 8 to 10% of gross rent as the management fee. It's a lot better for them to be renting $1,200 to $1,500 a month in like a nicer part of the town than the $600 per month. And they're harder to manage, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But my second one is property management and lack of management. And look, you have to manage your manager. I've been through multiple managers, and I know other investors that have tried the same thing that I did, the turnkey investing in cheap areas, have had that same experience. So lack of management is the second reason I think buying cheap houses may not be the best investment for you. And then finally, I kind of alluded to it, but it's your turnovers, it's your vacancies, it's the quality of your tenant that you're getting. Look, if you're in that type of price point, the tenants really don't care. They're going to be moving frequently. This is my experience. They move frequently, so your turnovers are much more often, and then it takes a little bit more time to find a replacement tenant because vacancy rates are so much higher. So those turnovers and those vacancies are the most expensive piece to being a landlord, and if those are high, it's going to impact your overall return big time. So even though your purchase price to your rent ratio seems really strong, when you consider in a high vacancy rate and a high turnover, you're going to find that your cash flow isn't as good as you maybe thought it should be. Ooh, I just thought of another one. While I'm shooting the video, I thought of one. I guess this will be my number 4. Financing cheap houses is extremely challenging. A lot of lenders have minimum loan amounts, and the purchase price of the house is below the minimum. So all my properties in Memphis are all free and clear because, look, I can't really leverage them. It's very difficult to do that. So buying properties without leverage, some people would say, is not the smartest thing. Leverage definitely makes real estate an attractive investment because it magnifies return. So hopefully you got something out of this video. Please just think twice before you go into a new market if you're chasing returns. I know it's tough right now, guys, to buy properties in most places, most cities across the country. And so we see investors chasing returns, going outside of market, looking for those high cash flow properties. And I'm telling you, a lot of times it doesn't turn out like you expect. So be careful out there. If there's anything we could do for you, please reach out. We're hard money lenders. We lend to real estate investors. You can find us at pinefinancialgroup.com.